You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the September 16th, 2024 meeting of the Long Beach Advisory Planning Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
We are calling to order the Advisory Plan Commission meeting at 7:00 p.m., the APC meeting of September 16th, 2024. I would like to first do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag invisible with justice. Then would you like to do the roll call? Certainly, right?
Kendra Bartlett,
Here.
Jim Diener, Diana Holt here, Matt Karstrom,
Here.
Seth McCormick,
Here.
Anita Remages,
Here.
Chris Steele.
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from our July 15th, 2024 meeting. We did not have an August meeting.
I second that motion.
Thank you. And we will move to old business, which is still our, oh, wait, sorry about that. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Kendra. Old business is the 2016 comprehensive plan review and the McKenna proposal. So I guess we could start out by just a general discussion. I think everybody has the McKenna plan proposal. I did look at the last time they did it and it was $15,000. So this proposal was $14,500. And again, it was they were going to do again what we had asked them to do back in 2016, and all of that information is on the website about the timeline of 2016, the email to town residents. I think right now the issue with redoing the 2016 comprehensive plan is right now it has not been put into the budget in the event that we wanted to use McKenna. It doesn't mean, I've had discussions with Tristan and Meg, it doesn't mean that the money couldn't be there. I think one of the issues that Joyce Schmidt has brought up is we want to keep working on it. We don't just kind of want to let it go away, but how urgent is it? And then how do we attack it if we decide for now we don't want to use McKenna? There was talk of doing Survey Monkey. I mean, all the questions are all of our properties. So, you know, we could go through the proposal and come up with the same questions. I think one of the things is people talk about pickleball courts, and those were just redone, and they'll be, you know, they're in the capital plan for totally tearing everything out, hopefully putting in 4 more courts. But so, you know, again, I'm going to look to all of you and say, you know, I know that there was discussion that we could get somebody to help, that we could start this ourselves. Do we want to start it ourselves? Do we want to set up a timeline for 2025? Do we want to look for money to hire McKenna, or do we want Paul Lippens to come in and talk to us and answer any questions? So I'm kind of going to open it up to everybody and see where we are with it. Do you have any thoughts? I know that you would, a few of you had said that, you know, do we need to spend that kind of money? I just know that it was pretty comprehensive, and I think there were words people talked about, like it was, I don't want to use the word argumentative, but that it was
Contentious.
contentious, thank you. some of the community center and town hall meetings, so.
Are you saying that in the previous process, it was contentious?
Yeah.
In terms of, the input from the discussions among the members or the input from the community itself?
The input from the community, that's what Bob May had said.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were hoping it would be collaborative, but, I mean, yeah, so, you know, looking at some of this, you know, some of the project description, and, you know, you'd like to think these people are, you know, they're describing each task in order to justify their budget. And so when I first showed through it, I was struck by kind of, you know, this may be a bigger scope of a project than we initially anticipated, including having to notify municipalities and utility providers and things like that, I wouldn't even begin to know how to do. I do think that the town aspect of it, including, you know, developing questions and then doing outreach is something that we could source. If we decided to put together like a subcommittee, like a comprehensive plan committee, if we could get enough involvement from the community in order to put that kind of committee together. But if there's stuff outside, you know, something that would, you know, the community involvement aspects of this in terms of like survey working and getting town's feedback and getting word out that like we're doing this plan and we need your help. You know, and I think it might behoove us to have an expert help us guide us along the path. If there's budgetary concerns, then, you know, then I'm happy to, you know, research how you go about doing some of these things and then take on that laboring reward and even do some of the notifications and research whether even some of the stuff is necessary. Because the flip side of that point is some of these people just try to justify their fee, right? And you don't have to do all these things in order to do your own internal comprehensive plan for your town. But I think there's also bigger picture items that he's brought up here, like, you know, land use, like what do we really, is this really what our goals are? Do our goals need to be in line with kind of like both, you know, federal, state, and local development, right? Do we need input from developers? Do we need input from like what are national trends in terms of what communities our size are doing when they're developing their comprehensive plan and how they're developing? Do we care? So just things we don't know, and maybe that merits having an expert, maybe it merits us doing research. It's just, you know, I'm kind of paralyzed by not knowing.
Well, and the other thing is there are some big projects that have been going on in Long Beach, and there are some big projects coming up. The $1.2 million project, the road, I mean, so, you know, and then the sewers are always kind of going to be in the background. And I just, you know, again, it hasn't been updated since 2016, and the financial, I mean, nobody looked at this and said, oh, it's not like we're asking for $100,000. So it's something that if APC said this is something that we think is pretty much right now beyond their scope, that I think that there would be an effort made somewhere to, you know, to find the money or, you know, to make payment plans. And again, until, you know, I didn't want Paul to come until we kind of say like, okay, this is where we're leaning, because at one of our meetings, we were talking about doing survey monkeys and maybe doing it ourselves. But then when you look at what it is that they're going to do, I thought there's no way, I don't see myself doing this or having the knowledge and, like you said, the whole land use mapping and all of that. So,
they're probably staffed to do this better than us.
Right.
You know, they'll probably do a better job of figuring out ourselves.
But I think from a professional standpoint, 15, you're stewards of the public funds, so it's always important, right? You never want to waste them. If you put in, let's just and their hourly rate likely isn't $100 an hour, right? But put in 250, put in 300, get to be probably pretty average rates for those. You're talking a work week or so, and that's a lot of work. That work likely can't be done efficiently, effectively, and at some point, you're still gonna want them to analyze likely, right? Now, and again, that's not to push and spend, and I'm not advocating that you do that, it's just whether you stick with this for a while, there's been discussions on limiting square footage of homes, right? And where the community is gonna be steered for the next generation and the one after that. So those become, whether it's important now or in the next year or two, I don't know, that's what the decision makers get to make. Maybe you advocate that in the future budget, right? Maybe building department, not that you want to take it, not that I'm advocating pulling money from theirs, but it might be important once you guys decide what the major issues are, but from my standpoint, I've seen some unbelievable bills for these types of things. So overall, if 15,000 was spent, it probably isn't money that's thrown away if it fits, right? I think the important thing that I always object to in my reviews, and it's not to tear down anybody's work, it's not to say work done for this town, but canned documents is what you do. Well, you want someone who knows this town, who is familiar or makes themselves familiar and makes it fit for what you want versus giving you something that's regurgitated over and over and you spend that 15 grand that you spent before and you get nothing new. So I think getting a handle before you go on, what's the important things? Do we want to limit size? Do we want to change zoning in different spots, right? So there are lots of those types of matters that I think getting a hold of, then making the decision, right? Yeah.
So would that be where it would be worthwhile to have Paul come in and talk to him about those different issues? Or is that more of a survey that goes, I mean, that's,
Well,
go with that?
I mean, I think that's what the comprehensive plan is all about. I personally think, that we should create, like a comprehensive plan committee with both new and old, homeowners who are involved in the town, and who have an interest in participating in something like this. And then we and they should meet with Paul.
Okay.
And I think we're gonna get a lot more value from Paul if we have input from those people.
Okay,
And then we can make a decision about how we're gonna move forward with the Kevin. Without, and we could even, offer to pay him for a short meeting at his whatever hourly rate is,
Yes.
$300, right? And then with kind of that, with that in mind, where you need maybe somebody on the building commission comes, so we can talk about kind of all these key issues that we'll address in the comprehensive plan. And that way you can kind of have a better idea of kind of what the scope of the project is, what the key issues are gonna be in terms of what we're gonna focus on. And then we'll have a better idea of, I mean, they're charging us less than we charged us
right,
5 years ago in schools. But yeah, but I also, to be frank, I'm just a little concerned about the proposal cost. It's just worded a little weird. Is it tasks one, I mean, they're offering to do all of this work for $14,500. Because they include their hourly fees.
we did.
And they're saying McKinney proposes to complete the work as outlined above for a lump sum of $14,500.
To do.
Well, I mean, it may just be that that's what they do, so if that's what they do, right? And they know how to attack the whole thing the way they do it, then.
And maybe there's an economy of scale because they've done it for us before, and they're not reinventing the wheel. There's not starting from scratch. I don't really understand.
Yeah.
This question.
I'm going to say they looked and came up with this number based on what they saw.
Because I was,
This is what we're gonna do, this is what it looks like now. So I'm with you, I don't wanna waste, I don't want to shoot, throwing or adding or, yeah, wasting money, but. if they are going to do what they say they're, and it's effective and efficient and serve its purpose. I don't know.
What do we all think about the idea of different homeowners? I like that, I mean, yeah, but that's not a good idea.
And I am not too comfortable myself doing, you know, if we've got the experts, we're gonna let it in. I've never done this, so I'm reluctant to take it on just ourselves, you know, and
No, that's what, but you have different perspectives, like on like a subcommittee, you've got different perspectives.
oh, absolutely.
Of people who participating with an expert who will help
Oh, I agree with you.
draw out information from them. And then help them kind of like formulate a plan and a vision. And then, you know, put that into a plan.
Right, I'm not just
Yeah,
saying with your
okay.
perspective,
Yeah.
what you said, and
Yeah.
we-
So I mean, that's just my thought about regular approach to that.
You're gonna,
And it also helps us formulate the right questions, get the right feedback from
Right.
the town. And you can't do anything about how the town reacts to questions, because you can make the most valid question, people are gonna have a reaction.
Right.
I mean, you can't, that's what was the social media, the element. You know,
So I mean, even here, like, how long have you lived here, Matt? You came here,
yeah, we're going on 5 years.
you know, so we have, you know, long-term, short-term, but, so how do we handle that? Do we send names, suggested names to the committee, or who we think, how do you choose, or do you have to advertise for something like that and say who wants to be on this?
I think we need to do something like that, I don't think we need to do shit.
We should say we're looking to form a committee
Right,
and we put an ad in it and say whoever's interested.
Okay.
Or whatever it is, that subcommittee.
Are they gonna be advisory to you? Who's gonna make the decision, right, ultimately of pulling the trigger of hiring and then what goes in that comprehensive plan? So is that, or are you better off to have a workshop
Oh, workshop.
that,
Oh.
and I don't know who's gonna participate. I know some of these things, people didn't even know the fire station was being done until it was done, right? So those kinds of things, you never know, and this is one that does require many attempts at reaching the public, right? So that it's the good old defense against that and attack against it at the end of it. When someone doesn't like it, is it, we didn't know anything about it. So, and that's what the, okay, that's what they'll do, right? That'll be their job. So I just think as you, didn't hurt to get others involved. I just think you have to decide who is the decision makers. That subcommittee going to formulate ideas and make proposals to you. And, you know, involve one or more of you, most of you, all of you. But I think it's important based on each of your positions and who appoints you to this committee or plan commission is the town council, the BZA. Those kinds of things are important, that you're ultimately probably the decision makers.
Sure. And maybe the workshop concept is a good idea, publish a workshop where we come here and say, we're gonna start working on
right,
comprehensive plan, this is what the comprehensive plan looks like, these are the possibilities we have. Who shows up or who gives feedback online, and then you can probably, you know, based on the responses and the participation in that, you can probably then ask people to participate in on the subcommittee, who they would answer to us, because we're the people responsible for formulating the plan. And we can collectively decide who we would ask to be in there. I mean, obviously, the town councils would have to approve any funding for McKenna, but I think we would have the authority to pick who's on our own subcommittee to help us work through the issues related to the plan.
So I'm just kind of looking, so we would want to hold a workshop with McKenna or without McKenna? I mean, McKenna talks about, I mean, public participation, you know, where you get the input, but that would most likely be after they do the analysis and all of that, right? So do we want to know if there's anything more? Is that where we want to say we'll hold a workshop and that's where I'm kind of.
I think that McKenna should probably pitch themselves and tell you what they bring to the table before you do that.
Okay,
They should pitch themselves and tell you that they're the ones,
okay,
what they actually bring, and if they're gonna bring something different. I think there's enough of you who are experienced in business and town government now, and different things of what, yes, they produced this before, but are they gonna do something different? And then probably lead you to those concepts anyway. Maybe they say, listen, for this, what you're paying us, we'll take care of the public input and feedback. So I think that's your starting point, is that.
Give them any picture.
Yeah, however you set that up so that you can discuss before you roll anything out to the public, and it's.
So that's where they would sit here and you would say, are you going to do this or are you going to do that? So,
Will you take that? No, I'm kidding. I-
Yeah.
Don't, do we need this, all right?
Yeah.
Not just to beat them down, right?
yeah. We'll start with it.
But to truly make sure that it's
Okay.
not canned and just because it fit Michiana shores or on the dunes doesn't make it Long Beach or even some of these things.
Well, this was clearly intended for Arlington. This is Arlington here somewhere.
It did, I saw it.
Or
I don't know.
Arlington Conference, yeah.
Right. And well, a little bit canned, a little bit canned. Well then, is that, so what I should do then is reach out to Paul and ask him to come?
Sure.
And then we can all, at the next meeting, and then we can all
Pepper with questions.
pepper him with questions.
We'll just tell them to be prepared for business.
And we're gonna pepper him with questions. And who's, and who's Arlington? We'll wait for Seth to say, who's Arlington? So, all right, so then, that's what we'll do, and then I guess in the meantime, we can all kind of think about, he'll be here, and are you going to do this, or, okay. All right,
Sounds good to me.
look at that. Thanks, Chris. Kendra, anything?
No,
Okay.
I thought actually he was gonna be here at the meeting. I had written down until I think that he was coming to this meeting, so I think all those questions you could have
Oh my gosh.
asked. And had all the answers. But I think we're coming next meeting, I'm very,
Okay. Sorry about that. All right, well then, I guess we will move on. I'll make sure to confirm with everybody that will be here, so, thank you. New business, no, we have none?
Question on that?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
My recollection, but maybe not trust that, is that they need perhaps a reaffirmation of the address assignment. Did you end up having, there was a request in between meetings, don't know if you ended up having to make that address assignment.
that
But I
was,
can carry
no, that was in between meetings, and that was with Larry and
And I never thought of it, also just bringing it.
yeah, he didn't mention it again, he was, given free rein to pick one of the three, I think. Some of the addresses used to come here too, like I think Megan Applegate had to come here for her address assignment.
And I think some of it was when she was doing her subdivision itself.
Yes,
I just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah.
it did all.
so a question did come up but there were three possible addresses and, I think, they went to, I think it was just a matter of going to the post office, but Larry said if he had any questions, he would come back here because there were three that were clearly obvious for that, so thank you. And there is, I mean, if we look at other old business, it would be several of the ordinances that went to the building commission and they're still working on those. So until those come back to us, for review, there is not anything we have to do on those. And I think one of them next month will be coming here, the parking ordinance. It seems like that one might be coming to, resolution by, the building commission. So we'll see at their next meeting in October. Otherwise, public hearing, in a public hearing, we have none. Public comments, we have no one in the building, and Zoom, do we have anyone in Zoom? We do. Are there any public comments on Zoom?
I think it's just me, Becky. Thank you.
Aye. All right. Then it looks as though, we are, our next meeting is scheduled for October 21st. I will absolutely do my best to make sure that Paul is here and will confirm it with all the committee members. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All right.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
See you then.